All right. Win, loss, or tie. The good news is we get to talk about AEW Blood and Guts. Um, it's this is this the last episode of our Ibushi watch? We
I
started
think
it.
so.
Oh, we love you, Ibushi. The Golden
Now that he's
Lovers
back.
back together. Gotta go crazy. Oh, I'm super pumped up. All right, let's read the results. Feel free to give your opinion. FTW Championship, Jack Perry defeated Hook. It happened, man. The more I see these guys, the less I want to see. I understand Taz knows best, and I'm glad Taz is happy. You know, he's a hot, heated dude. But I'll be completely honest. I was a little disappointed this was the opening match. I was so disappointed this match even happens. Am I just a player-hating fool, or can you fucking defend this weird-ass match?
No, I want to like Hook, but Jack Perry has killed any interest. And also, I'd like to raise a point. So, like before the match, hold on. Before I even talk about the match, there was like that like video package promo for Jungle Boy where he's dragging some woman's body because those are women's boots. He's dragging a woman. I lived in Texas. I've seen a lot of boots. Trust me, those are women's boots. They're dragging a body though.
I feel like I'm a super nerd when it comes to sandwiches and certain styles of pro wrestling. Did we find your super nerd? Were you like, yeah, listen,
No,
that's
I
definitely
can just
women's
tell.
boots?
I love westerns.
All right, understand.
But
Go on.
they were
So,
women's boots. So here's my question: did he just kill off Anna JAS? I think it's his girl.
I,
Did he just kill her off in kayfabe?
I don't know
Because he
because
drug a woman to a grave and buried a woman at a grave, and then tried to look like he was really like torn about leaving her buried in that grave as he's getting into the limo.
that was so stupid that I actually blanked it from my memory. I
I
forgot
can't.
that segment was so horrible. Hey, here's my thing. Hook, very attractive. Taz, very short and angry. I'm just saying, if those were attractive boots, Taz's wife, Hook's mom. I'm just throwing it out there. I mean, the
I
story's
saw
so
someone
stupid
on
anyway.
Twitter say that if Jack Perry was a man, he would have come out to the 90210 theme song.
Oh yeah, that would be awesome. Oh,
And
one of our indie
I have to
wrestlers did
agree.
that. Shane Swift did that, and it got crazy over. You don't
Yeah,
think
but
it?
Jack Perry doing it,
Oh, it would
I
be
think
insane.
it's different.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Can we all just say that the whole thing was stupid and move on?
Yeah, and
So,
and apparently it's the fourth time in a row. So Brian Cage got given his title, and they changed titles at the same time of year. Um, Same thing with who was after Brian Cage before Hook?
I think it was the guy that beat
Ricky
CM Punk.
Starks.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's Ricky Starks 1 year, Hook 1 year, and now Jack Perry has it, and could very well have it for 1 year. But so far, everyone's had it for 1 year.
Now listen, as a guy who pays attention to too much business news but doesn't have to, do you think it's in Taz's contract? Like once a year the title has to be defended?
Maybe once a year he convinces Tony to do it. He's like, "Come on, Tony, it's been a year.
It's like, God damn it, is it his contract?
Let's give him the one title defense."
Do you think like if like Cody put it in the contract and he just shakes his fist? God damn Cody!
Damn you, Cody, and your negotiation tactics.
Here's the thing. When I was in the Marine Corps, we used to always blame stuff on the Bugle Boys. I don't know why. And it was funny because there was this one lieutenant who actually didn't watch DuckTales. And he's like, one day I'd like to beat the shit out of the Bugle Boys. So like, let's say there was like 12 meals, 12 MREs, 12 lunches. And we had 13 Marines and we were a lunch short. We'd always say those goddamn Bugle Boys. Like anything was wrong, we blamed the Bugle Boys. But we had a fucking lieutenant. We had a lieutenant that didn't know they were fucking cartoon characters. He's like, we should just go fucking kick their ass. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? They're always stealing our lunch. Every time something's knocked over and there's trash, it was them. And I was like, holy fuck, you went to college?
You think this is a real thing?
So, but do you think we blame Susan for all her shortcomings on YouTube? Do you think Tony does that to Cody? Do you think he's just like, God damn Cody?
It might. But if so, I might have a security job in Mexico for him.
Hell yeah. Dr. Britt Baker defeats Kayla Sparks. It was a short match. It was great.
Yeah. What a way to make sure women got even less time.
Oh yeah, you were really on that, buddy. Wasn't that going to be one of our segments,
saying.
or was that last week's segment?
No, it wasn't either, but I'm just saying the man acted like he was going to treat women's wrestling different, and then they're just an afterthought that feels like he only includes them because he has to.
Yeah. Yeah, you went on Twitter a lot. I did mention it in the review. I thought we were going to make a segment of it, but we can talk about it now. Here's the thing, Sid. There's a part of me that disagrees with you. There's a part of me that's like, hey, dude, nope, all that matters is talent. And it ain't, you've heard those debates. And I've kind of fell on that side. Except you brought up a great point. Tony and AEW was the one that promised they'd be different. And since they brought up that point, in my opinion, they're kind of using females the same way WWE uses 6 kids. We'll talk about that later. The same way that people use different sexualities during a certain month. Like, if you promise something and don't deliver, and then you're kind of, I don't know, where I come from, a fucking liar. You're a liar. You're a big fat phony, Tony. Do you want to add anything else to that, sir?
No, not really. The time that they've given the women's wrestling has been atrocious. I get Britt Baker having a squash to reestablish Britt, but it feels like it was a pointless inclusion into this show.
Yeah, it almost.
And considering they ran over at the end, I don't know that it was worth the inclusion of the squash match.
Yeah, and I want to apologize. I woke up late, and I told Sid, we'll start the podcast as soon as the main event is over. That main event was long. That main event was long. I thought what stole the show, and I didn't expect it. I don't know. It stole. It was a lot of comedy. There's a lot of sports entertainment. Rant and Review tweeted out something that Collision is going to have more long matches, and then Dynamite's more sports entertainment. And I just throw in, as long as you bring back Rampage to having short title matches from around the world. A short AAA match, a short New Japan Never Open match. Oh. I was Team Rampage for a long time, but they got off their path. And listen. We're on Team Rampage. QTV, what the fuck, man? You are the worst fucking thing on television. You go down to Triple Mania.
Disagree. The QTV segments are fucking atrocious. And what was with the singing one? I don't know if that was Rampage, Collision. All I remember is Pain.
I think it was both. But here's the crazy part. QT Marshall goes down to Mexico against Pentagon and has one of the craziest fucking matches ever.
Crazy.
I don't get it.
What you could have done this the whole time?
I know. Well, here's the thing too. I thought it was his hair. Because, when he was bald, he was, a really good technical wrestler, but then he magically had hair and became a shitty wrestler. But I was wrong. It isn't his hair. It isn't him. It's goddamn Tony, stupid Bugle Boys.
Yeah, his match performance was exceptional, and I did not expect that, honestly. Because I'm not as familiar with him, so I was like, oh, he can go.
He could definitely go. I thought it was the hair. I thought the more hair he grew back, the worse wrestler he got. But
that's why Kenny has so much hair.
All right, let's talk Blind Eliminator Tag Team Tournament Final. MJF and Adam Cole. I know it's comedy. I know that's not my style. I think MJF and Adam Cole are perfect together. I think MJF has found his voice. I think Adam Cole has a fresh start. I love this with all my heart. They do defeat Sammy Guevara and Daniel Garcia, who ignored Jericho at the end. Of course, hitting a double clothesline. I love everything about this. And here's the one thing. I was against the brand splits, but FTR showing up did feel special. FTR showing up did feel special.
I was like, oh shit, FTR actually came to the show.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
And so I don't know because I don't want MJF and Adam Cole to break up, but I don't know if FTR is
Oh,
going
they're
to drop it.
definitely breaking up.
No, no, they're so perfect together. I love
Yeah,
them.
but come on, as that title belt moment, that
Oh
was
yeah, yeah.
clearly intended to plant the seeds.
And all that, but poor Roderick. Roderick.
Oh God, poor Roderick, poor Renee. It's like, not now, Renee. Like, damn, you walked over into her interview
Uh,
segment.
I love Roderick Strong, but this is rough. This is rough.
It is. He's watching his
Oh,
girlfriend run away with another guy, basically,
oh man. I guess I don't know.
while he's hurt.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I've never.
It's my favorite thing going in
It is
wrestling right
definitely
now,
my
by
favorite thing
far.
going. By far, entertainment wise. A more serious storyline, WWE, the Bloodline is pretty decent. That's pretty good. The Golden Lovers coming together is great, but I think you
The
have to
Golden
watch a
Lovers
lot
coming
of
together
wrestling.
though hasn't told any real story yet on AEW
That's
TV.
true. You have
They
to.
are banking entirely off us knowing Coda and Kenny's connection, and knowing the Golden Lovers. It's entirely banking off a nostalgia pop for that.
I totally agree with that. And it feels like a comic book crossover event, but two great characters just joined the Avengers. But if you didn't read the other versions of the comics, it's not that big a deal. You know what I mean? But if you've read, the comics in DDT, or not comics, you've seen the matches in DDT, you've seen the matches
Hmm.
in New Japan, you are going fucking crazy. But the rest of the world hasn't seen that yet. So I'm hoping that they do something good with that. But yeah, overall, blind eliminator tag tournament. The whole idea was stupid, but if it brought MJF and Adam Cole together, it was great. And I just want
It's
them to
been
stay
the
together
only
forever.
they've been the only part of the tournament that's really stood out to me that much. I could get the Sammy and
Garcia.
Daniel Garcia thing. Yeah, I get it, like building them up, but I don't really care. I guess because I don't care about Jericho's faction as a whole. I'm sorry, Jericho. I just don't.
And not only that, but
Um,
like it also feels because they drop so many storylines that if it's not your favorite wrestlers, you don't feel like you have to follow the storyline. Like they
well,
they like even
beyond
it's
that,
not important in AEW, so why should it be important in my
yeah,
eyes?
beyond that, AEW storytelling in general. If I'm being critical of AEW and being honest, for me as a fan, I feel like AEW does not tell enough stories. And by that I mean AEW, like the storytelling part of AEW, the segments that take place outside of matches, very, very limited on what story actually gets told. I'd say a good 95% of the story in AEW is told by the wrestlers in the ring and using moments in the ring to tell the story, uh, which I think is a bad thing. It's a great thing they're able to tell the story in the ring, no doubt, but I think it's a bad thing that that's such a high percentage of your storytelling as a brand.
Um, I agree with you. The wrestlers telling the story in the ring is amazing. So let's not take that. Let's not take away from the athletes.
No, that's a great thing, but it's just the fact that that's all the storytelling for the most part is what I think hurts AEW. Like, how are you expecting to take over in the market when you're skipping over such a huge percentage of what captures so many fans?
Yeah, and I just want to add something to that, if you don't mind, sir.
Hmm.
I don't think this was originally a problem, but I think a lot of people said it was a problem, and then like to counter it, it became a problem. Like example, you have a boat, and a bunch of WWE fans go, "There's no stories," and that's not true. There was stories, and Tony's
Yeah.
like, "I'll show you no stories," and then just starts shooting holes in the boat. I don't quite understand because it wasn't always a problem. Like
No.
you have this thing where people came into AEW and said there's no stories. And I was like, that's just not true. But eventually it became true, if that makes
Problem
sense.
is, it's not that there aren't stories in AEW. it's like I said, it's that the stories are pretty much all told by the wrestlers during their matches. The stories are they just really aren't given much time to grow outside of that in promos and storytelling outside of that. They don't get much storytelling time.
Yeah. And of course, he also has the attention span of Dave Koco, aka Dalmatian on crack. It's like, this is the story we're going with. We're changing it. It's like, well, you didn't have to change that, buddy. You didn't. You gotta see that through. You gotta see where it went.
Yeah.
So you got the blood and guts match. I thought there was some really cool spots. It was very long.
I do want to say one
Okay.
other thing though. MJF constantly inflating how big Big Bill is and how many fans there are since that moment has been one of my favorite gags. It's such a good jab at Hulk Hogan that is so funny that you don't get if you aren't familiar with Hulk Hogan and Andre's story, where he changes the number of fans all the time and he also forgets where it took place and changes the arena pretty often too.
Yeah. It's just pure gold. MJF, to me, MJF was an overrated heel, and now he is a full character that's hilarious. Adam Cole was the
Always
NXT guy. I was totally overrated. Dude, if I wish I wasn't lazy.
Boo this man, people. Boo.
You can boo me all you want, but hear
Put
me
it
out.
in the comments how wrong he was about MJF.
If I wasn't lazy, and I am, because this ain't a challenge you can do. Like, sometimes the challenge is there. You're like, hey, go back. Like the Okada challenge. The Okada challenge was, if you think Okada's as good as he was yesterday, or back in the day, go watch a tag from the Tag League, and then go watch any match in Ring of Honor. He was in tag team matches in Ring of Honor. You will see that he dropped. The Kevin Kelly challenge. The new Bullet Club leader is better than all the others. Okay, compare that G1 and randomly pick a G1 match of the other Bullet Club leaders. Now, those are a little bit easier challenges. This one I'd have to be lazy. If you went to MJF and edited out all stuff he stole from someone else, he wouldn't have promos. He just wouldn't have promos. He just wouldn't. Now, it's like, oh, he's a character, he's funny, he's hilarious, oh, he's got something about him. Because, you would always get these young kids in the Twitch chat and be like, ain't he great? Yeah, dude, that was awesome. He reenacted Piper. Ain't he great? Yeah, he reenacted Flair. He was the best cover band ever. And now he's a great novelist who found his voice. So hopefully he can keep that up.
The whole time. Like the stupid singing shenanigans, all of it.
Dude, he stole...
And got that dance off. That dance off was so good.
Oh, it was so stupid. Taz stole the best line. He's like, this is amazing. Tony's like, no, it's not. He's like, you're right. This sucks.
No, I loved it. I thought it was great. It was hilarious.
It was stupid but funny. But funny.
Because I don't really like the Daniel Garcia dancing. This was the first time I thought Daniel Garcia dancing involved segment was good.
Yeah, it really comes out of nowhere prior to this, but yeah, I agree.
Yeah, he loves just waving his dick at people.
It's like, this is it.
That's who he is.
All right, let's talk Blood and Guts. The Golden Elite defeat Moxley and his crew. I liked this from a storytelling device because A, Golden Lovers back together. I'm gonna fucking celebrate the shit out of that. Awesome spots, hardcore. It was very long of a match, but I like the fact that Pac and then Takeshita walked out. I like that fact because they always had the numbers advantage. And this was the first time the Elite had the numbers advantage. So I thought that was kind of a good storytelling. I also like the fact that Moxley was the one that gave up because he was chained and couldn't do anything. I love that storyline in pro wrestling, but it's difficult to pull off. And dear Kevin Kelly, did you notice how they mentioned DDT without being an asshole about it? My DDT heart smiled from ear to ear. I was like, it's DDT! It's DDT! There you go. But yeah, overall, I enjoyed it a lot. I thought it told a story, and they did some cool things. What was your thoughts, sir?
I thought it was a fun spot fest, but I didn't care for the end.
Okay, got it. Yeah, that
I
storyline's
think
hard to tell
two
off.
people. Well, I think two people leaving the match for a match that's supposed to be sealed in the cage just seems really stupid. Like, I get that he went and he got bolt cutters from under the ring, but like, why? Why are those under the ring to begin with in a match where you're sealing people in the cage?
It's just pretty convenient. It's convenient. Um,
No, they shouldn't have been allowed to leave the damn cage.
I am a former cameraman. I thought the camera work was rough at times.
It was.
It was rough.
In fact, it kind of fucked up the ending.
Yeah, it definitely fucked up the ending.
You didn't really get to see John Moxley agonizing over the decision to surrender. It looked like the ref just kind of said, "Fuck it, it's over."
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. Also, if it was in New Japan or WWE, they would definitely focus on the Golden Lovers talking to each other. Like we just saw it on the corner of the
Oh,
eyes.
yeah.
And there was a lot of moves where like the cameramen and the editors didn't know where to go. And now, in defense of AEW, this is a very hard match to cut and do live and all that.
Yeah.
But also, New Japan and WWE would have definitely nailed it out of the park. Possibly TNA and Impact, but I know WWE would have definitely nailed it, and New Japan would have definitely nailed it. So
I enjoyed it, but I think Blood and Guts is the kind of match that belongs only on a pay-per-view. Commercials really, really kill that match.
oh yeah, and I had the international
Like,
feed, and it was still off.
well, some of the commercial breaks, like where they went small and stuff like that, were like during. Okay, so to me, when I think of like a Rumble style match or any elimination chamber, blood and guts, any kind of match where you're slowly adding people, to me at least, that person who's coming in, it's always kind of like a highlight moment of them as a wrestler when they first get in. It's always like 30 seconds to a minute of them getting in good offense and looking good as, they enter the match and make an impact. And I was just disappointed by it. I felt like Wheeler Yuta, they just went to the small picture in picture like as soon as he got in the ring. And there were a couple different points where it just seemed like you didn't really get to enjoy those people's offense as they came in, which I think should have been one of the most important keys to the early part of the match.
And advantage of the international fan base, when you go picture in picture, nothing changes except the commentary is a lot more funnier and laid back. So we got to see a lot of that stuff. So
Okay.
we were very lucky for international audience because it never went picture in picture, and I could be wrong. I have to rewatch it, but I don't remember it going to a commercial break during the main event.
It did.
I don't know, for you guys it did. I don't think it did for the international
Okay.
audience.
Yeah, it went to I think two that were just full commercial, not even picture in picture.
So advantage international audience. I could be wrong. I know picture in picture, we never go picture in picture. We just stay full screen and hear the commentary.
Oh, that's pretty nice.
And then we never. I could be mistaken. I don't have the best memory, but I do not remember going to commercial. I remember you guys going to commercial, but I don't remember us going to commercial as far as the international audience goes. So
I will.
go ahead, sir.
My only real big gripe with the match is just it's not even a gripe because it's just a choice of which would have been better. I would have popped. I get they saved Coda for the end, gave him the real entrance on the apron after having everyone enter through the crowd. That was cool. Give him his entrance. I feel like it would have been way cooler though if when Kenny was getting 1v2'd at the start of the match, if Coda had been number 2. And you just gave us just a little bit of Golden Lovers in the tag team match.
Yeah.
For just a little bit. I think it would have been great.
I'm just going to play. I agree. I'm only going to play devil's advocate, though. How much would you have not given a shit about the next few members?
That's true.
you would have fast forward that shit faster than anything. Like, all right, let's get to the 5-on-5. So, yeah. But overall, I enjoyed it. Some aspects I liked, and the camera work has to get better. All right. Let's end it on win, loss, or tie, and then we're gonna go to the next segment. What's your win, loss, tie, sir?
Week win.
Week win. I'm gonna give it a win. Not a perfect, but there you go. All right, next segment.